And this brings to mind a very interesting movie, and you're probably going to laugh because it's a Bruce Lee movie, but Bruce Lee is pretty underrated when it comes to spirituality. Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon had a really fantastic segment in it in the very beginning of the movie, where Bruce Lee is dressed as a Chinese old kung fu master, and he's teaching his disciple to do a lot of kung fu. And at one point, he's telling him, no, you got to flow. It's got to come from the heart. It's got to come from the gut and everything. And he points to the moon to make his point, right? He points to the moon. And of course, the disciple is looking at the finger, mesmerized. And Bruce Lee, the master, slaps his head and says, not the finger, the moon, the moon. Meaning, it's not the messenger that you need to focus on. It's the message. All right, so we can say that these books, despite having no shred of evidence being based in reality, the message was good. But there's just something a little bit more behind that will go right after that. So for those of you who don't know Barrett Spalding, he wrote an incredible series of 5 books. And it was all about, theoretically, him and 11 other scientists who had gone to the East to study these ascended masters that were living with us. Well, nothing he said really made sense. The villages didn't really make sense. They were not that close to each other. And it turned out that, well, lo and behold, he never set foot outside of the US up until 1935, when he had written the first book and he had enough money so that his publisher said, you must go there. And he went there. And then there's a whole cover-up story, which we won't get into. But it begs the question that he only went to India in the 1935. And even then, a lot of these scientists whom he said he was part of, some of them said no, I've never met him, he's never been here. And it turns out that Spalding really basically exaggerated. Not only exaggerated, but he did something that no author should ever do, is to present a book as being true when it isn't. So the real thing here, and I'm going to give you other examples of that, is that yes, despite the book not being true, despite the author being, well, a liar, for lack of better words, does it really matter if the message is good? Because the message that come across from those books is that, yes, there is definitely room for dreaming and room for all of that good stuff and everything.